There's a quiet street in a small town in Georgia. On that street, in a humble little white house with peeling paint and a creaky front porch, lives a woman named Margaret. She's 92 years old. Her hands are wrinkled, her steps are slow, but her mind sharp as a blade. Her eyes still hold the fire of youth, though they've seen nearly a century of heartbreak, love, struggle, and triumph. I sat down with her on a warm spring morning. The sun was rising, golden rays casting long shadows on her old rocking chair. She looked at me, smiled gently, and said something that I haven't been able to forget since. "Young man," she said, "they don't teach this in schools, and most men don't figure it out until it's too late. But if you understand what I'm about to tell you, you'll live a life few ever do. You'll be rich, not just in money, but in meaning." And then, with the wisdom of 9 decades carved into every word, she gave me a series of truths so raw, so powerful, I felt them deep in my chest. Goosebumps ran down my arms. Because this wasn't textbook knowledge. This wasn't something you'd read in a self-help book. This was life experience, polished by time, pain, love, regret, and gratitude. She leaned in closer and whispered, "Most men are running, always running, but they don't even know where they're going." She paused, looked out at the horizon. Then she continued, "They chase women, then they chase money. Then they chase success, power, recognition, always something. But one day, they wake up with silver hair and aching bones, and realize they've outrun the things that mattered most." I was stunned, silent. "You want to know what matters?" she asked, her voice cracking just slightly. "Let me tell you what 92 years taught me that no one ever told me when I was your age." And what she told me next changed the way I see everything. Lesson 1. Time is your most valuable currency, spend it wisely. She looked at me and said, "You can always make more money, but you'll never make more time. Every second you waste, you'll never get back." When she was 27, her husband worked 12-hour shifts. They were building a life. But in chasing more money, he missed birthdays. He missed their anniversary. He missed Sunday mornings where their kids played on the carpet and the sun lit up the kitchen like a golden halo. One day, he looked up and our babies were teenagers. He told me, "I thought I was doing this for them, but I missed them doing it." You'll never regret the time you spent being present with the ones you love. But you will regret the hours, the years, spent trying to impress people who won't show up to your funeral. Lesson 2. Never let your pride be louder than your heart. Men, she said, we've got a hard time saying, "I'm sorry," or "I need help," or "I love you," when it counts most. She told me about her brother, a man who hadn't spoken to their father for 10 years over a misunderstanding. 10 years of silence. Then one day, their father passed away. Her brother wept like a child, not just for the loss, but for the silence. "Don't let pride cost you your peace," she said. "Say what needs to be said while you still have the chance." The strongest men she ever knew weren't the loudest in the room, they were the ones humble enough to say, "I was wrong," or "I forgive you." Lesson 3. Real wealth isn't what you keep, it's what you give. She pointed at an old wooden box near her fireplace. "In there," she said, "are letters from people I helped over the years. Young women who were homeless. Families that had nothing. I didn't have much either, but I gave what I could. And now, I open those letters when I feel alone, and I remember, I mattered to someone." "You want to be rich?" she asked. Give. Give your time. Give your patience. Give your attention. The people who leave the deepest marks on this world are the ones who leave pieces of themselves in others. Lesson 4. Love isn't a fairy tale. It's a decision. Every day. She married her husband in 1951. They had no money. Just a dream and a little garden out back. She told me, "Some days I didn't like him. Some days he didn't like me. But we chose each other, again and again and again." That's love. Not fireworks. Not magic. But choosing to stay, even when it's hard. And when he got sick in his late 70s, she became his full-time caregiver. She fed him, bathed him, sang to him until the very last day. "Love isn't what you feel," she said. "It's what you do." Lesson 5. No one gets out of this life alive, so stop living like you'll live forever. She smiled gently, eyes sparkling with truth. I've been to more funerals than birthdays. I've said goodbye to friends, neighbors, even two of my children. And if there's one thing death taught me, it's that life is far too precious to waste worrying about what others think. You don't have time to live someone else's life, she said. Wear the clothes you love. Dance if there's music. Say what you need to say. Forgive quicker. Love louder. And please, don't wait to be happy. She paused for a long moment, looked at the sky, then back at me. The cemetery's full of people who had plans for someday. Lesson 6. Learn to sit with yourself and be at peace. She told me how many men she met, big, strong, successful men, who couldn't be alone. They always needed noise, distraction, validation. They feared silence, she said, because in silence, the truth echoes. But the most powerful people she knew were the ones who could sit quietly, reflect, breathe, and say to themselves, I am enough. Don't run from your soul, she said. That's where the treasure's buried. Lesson 7. Chase impact, not applause. She leaned forward with urgency in her voice. Young people today want likes, follows. They want to be seen. But listen to me, fame fades. Character doesn't. She showed me a picture of a nurse who cared for her when she had pneumonia years ago. She wasn't famous, but she held my hand when I was scared. She made a difference. Be like that. Don't live for applause. Live in such a way that when someone tells your story, they say, because of them, I kept going. As the sun set behind that little white house, I stood up to leave. I asked her, if you could go back in time, what would you do differently? She smiled, a little sad, a little wise. I'd worry less. I'd hug more. I'd say, I love you, louder. And I'd dance in the kitchen, even when no one was watching. Then she looked me in the eyes and said something I'll never forget. You get one shot at this life. Just one. Don't spend it asleep. Wake up. Love boldly. Live honestly. Give freely. That's the secret, child. That's the truth most men never hear until it's too late. And with that, she gently closed her eyes, rocking slowly in her chair, humming an old hymn that faded into the wind. So I ask you now, what are you chasing? What are you running from? Who do you need to call? What have you been putting off? Because one day, your time will be up too. And on that day, you won't wish you made more money. You'll wish you had one more moment, with the people you love. One more sunrise. One more chance to say what matters. So don't wait. Start now. Live boldly. Love deeply. And remember, that's a fact, few men know this. But now, you do.